This is Michael Schmalley with Toyota Graphics LLC explaining the Caustic Core Part 2. We're just going to be talking about what this stuff is, the messaging system on the lowest level, talking to the core. Earlier we talked about the rack message and how it creates a subsynth named mySubsynth at machine 0. Well, under the hood, this create message is actually a static property of the rack message class. And as you can see in the constructor here, we pass the actual caustic create with tokens to the constructor. So when the actual method of the class is called send, send knows what message to send because it has the message, the token message. And then it replaces all the tokens with your parameters, your arguments, such as subsynth, mySubsynth, and the index. Now, all the OSC that I have implemented have these core classes. And to view that, you can head over to toyotagraphics.com/caustic/doc/index and hit the Toyota Graphics Caustic Core OSC package, and you'll see this list. And as you can see, if you click on rack message, it takes you right here, and it shows you all the messages that belong to the rack, their message. And then if you scroll down, you see all the in-depth docs and the parameters, what they mean. So you can check out all this stuff, like the mixer. Mixer has all this. You set the delay, send, reverbs, mute, solo, EQ. We have the pattern sequencer, change the bank, clear the bank, number of measures. The master mixer, delay, bypass, delay, all the EQ, the limiter, the reverb, the master volume. And then we have the individual machines, such as the subsynth. And we have the filter, the LFO, the LFO2, the OSC1, OSC2, set the waveforms, everything you can do. And again, all this is documented. And then there's the synth message, which is related to all the synths because they share. You can load the preset, set a note on, note off, note preview for the beatbox, set the polyphony, query the preset name, and save a preset. And so as you can see, I have most of the Caustic 3 stuff implemented here, but I'm still waiting on some commands. Reg is busy, as we all know. Okay, so this has all the documentation of all the code that is in the GitHub account. Okay, so knowing that these messages are just static properties of the class that are calling their send methods and sending the generator, so we have a link, a pointer to the native sound engine. We now have the caustic activity. And the caustic activity, as I said earlier, was a subclass of the native Android activity. So this allows it to be a bona fide application that can be created and run on the tablet or phone. So long story short, the activity is the life cycle of an Android application. It starts, runs, pauses, stops, and gets destroyed, whether the back button's pressed, the menu, an incoming call, so on, and you get the idea. Well, we use this to plug into the life cycle events of Android to start and stop the native audio stream in the core. So you can see the generators being called with the same method names as the lifecycle events. And here we create the generator and send it the activation key. this activation key expires in the example, but if you want a permanent one, you have to get a hold of me and we can talk about what you're doing, and I can get you a permanent key for your package name for your application. So basically I wrote this class for the samples. I use LiveGDX, which is OpenGL. It's really fast graphics. It's what Reg uses. It's basically rendering textures to 3D vertices, stuff like that. Really low level graphics, so it's fast. I wrote this class so I could very easily, without setting up LiveGDX, show how to use Caustic. Which this also shows that you can still use Caustic with the native Android UI components. So, back here we have, basically, if you have an idea of something you want to create, or some type of synth, or some type of sequencer, all you have to do is think about what components are available in Caustic, and the sequences that you need to do stuff. So you can see here, this is the same as using the Caustic app. I mean, if you want to create a subsynth, you have to create the subsynth, and then you have to add note data, and then this is setting the BPM. You don't have to do that, but it's setting the BPM, and then you play the sequencer to play it. So when you're designing something, you just need to figure out, what you want to do, and write down the steps of how you want to do it, and basically anything that you can do in the Caustic app, you can do here. I mean, other than the UI stuff, like how Reg has copying note data and stuff like that, you have to do that yourself, but I have a framework that's written that wraps that kind of stuff. So that's more in-depth about the messaging. As I said, the messaging is really documented. You can learn a lot by checking out this Caustic Docs index. You can learn more about the rest of the framework, like the Caustic controller, which has a command manager, dispatchers, a library manager, a project manager. It has a rack, which is what wraps all of these messages. It has undo and redo support with commands, quite a bit. And then there's a whole bunch more. We have track sequencers, system sequencer, and then the tone framework is the abstraction of machines. So if you want to, in the framework that I'm going to show you next, you would create a tone through the sound source, which the sound source has methods like create tone, clear scene, destroy tone, get tone. It saves all the tones. It can save a song, save as. So you see all this stuff is wrapped, and it's a lot more user friendly. Okay, well, this is still pretty abstract. I haven't shown anything. I'm just trying to get some of this procedural stuff out of the way, so this is kind of documented of what's going on here. And the next tutorial / discussion will be about the Caustic controller, and that is where everything is wrapped up, and it's more you're using Java APIs to do stuff and not this really abstract messaging stuff right here. Okay, thanks for listening, and tune in next time.